All right. We are back again for another week of Startup Vagabond news. So, last week I was gone because I was traveling for work, so hope you give me some grace. And here we go again. So this time the big tech theme is infrastructure. Governments are acting like venture capital firms, AI is moving deeper into chips and data centers, and startup funding is concentrating around companies building an industrial backbone to the next tech cycle. We have Taiwan betting billions on AI chips, Europe launching a giant AI compute program, Singapore producing one of the biggest fintech rounds of the year, and Latin America showing strength in practical finance, property, legal, and business infrastructure. So let's take a quick lap around Asia, Latin America, and Europe. Starting in Asia, like usual, in startup news, Taiwan, MediaTek, MEDIATEK, bets $5 billion USD on AI data centers. Taiwan's MediaTek approved a financing framework of up to $5 billion USD to support long-term growth, including custom AI chips for data centers. The important point is that the AI chip race is no longer just about NVIDIA GPUs. Cloud companies increasingly want custom chips built for their own workloads. One good example of that is the Steam machine, which I signed up for and hopefully get by the end of the year. All these different companies not only need GPUs and CPU and different chips, they need custom chips for their own purposes. So, interesting phase of the AI race we're in right now. Moving to Singapore, ANT, A-I-N-T, I almost said ain't, maybe I'm too Texan. ANT International raises 1.2 billion USD. Singapore-based ANT International raised a $1.2 billion USD for its global payments and financial technology network. This is one of the Southeast Asia's largest technology financings of the year, and it shows fintech moving away from customer wallets towards merchant services, cross-border settlement, and enterprise financial infrastructure. Clean energy becomes AI infrastructure. Singapore-based PCG Global raised a major pre-Series A round led by Temasek, Temasek, owned Gen Zero to build renewable energy projects across Southeast Asia, Oceania, and the Middle East. As AI data centers and advanced manufacturing increase electricity demand, energy platforms are becoming part of the startup infrastructure story. The data layer beneath physical AI. Singapore-based Ropedia, ROPEDIA, raised $22 million USD for physical AI data infrastructure. Robots need video, sensor, spatial, and real-world interaction data. So the physical AI boom is creating a new market for the data behind the machines. Small businesses get a shared rewards platform. Singapore-based Bundle raised a $5.5 million USD pre-seed round before launch. The company wants to let small businesses pool their marketing budgets into shared customer rewards program, basically giving local merchants the kind of loyalty infrastructure usually reserved for banks, airlines, and big consumer platforms. Singapore and the Philippines. Temus, T-E-M-U-S, buys thinking machines. Singapore's Temus, whatever it is, acquired Philippines-based thinking machines, data science, OpenAI's first official service partner in Asia Pacific. This is a strong Southeast Asia AI service story because it combines Singapore's enterprise infrastructure with a Philippine team that already has AI deployment expertise. That's it for the startup news. Moving on to VC in Asia. In Japan, Genesia Ventures, GENESIA, closes Fund 4. Japan early-stage investor Genesia Ventures closed its fourth fund and is positioning AI as a force that changes industries, not just a standalone investment category. That is a healthier version of AI investing. The question is not, does this company use AI, but does AI actually change the cost structure, labor model, or business system? In South Korea, the National Pension Fund moves closer to Silicon Valley, DC. South Korea's National Pension Service is expected to build long-term partnerships with major U.S. venture firms, including Andreessen Horowitz, General Catalyst, and Sequoia Capital. that could connect one of the world's largest pools of institutional capital more directly to global venture investing. Moving to Vietnam, a national VC fund takes shape. Vietnam is drafting a public-private national venture fund intended to attract private capital, grow the country's venture market, and help produce future unicorns. If managed well, this could reduce Vietnam's dependence on foreign capital hubs like Singapore. And back to Singapore, crypto investing gets more practical. Singapore-based Pazalion, P-S-A-L-I-O-N, maybe just Zalion with a silent P, launched a $50 million USD blockchain fund focused on stablecoins, trade finance, and tokenized real-world assets and middleware. The crypto thesis here is less about speculation and more about infrastructure inside normal finance and commerce. In other ecosystem news, Vietnam is subsidizing the customers, not just the startups. Vietnam is also considering state co-funding for companies adopting or developing AI systems. That matters because it could create more local customers for AI startups, consulting firms, workflows, automation tools, and industrial software companies. In South Korea, capital meets industrial policy. South Korea's broader innovation strategy keeps linking chips, AI infrastructure, venture capital, and international partnerships. The interesting part is that Korea is not only trying to build startups, it is trying to connect national capital, global VC firms, and its semiconductor advantage into one system. And for our final news in Asia, AI infrastructure is becoming a regional capital magnet. Across Taiwan, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, and Vietnam, the strongest stories are not generic apps. They are chips, payments rails, energy, robotics data, and national venture funds and AI adoption programs. Moving over to Latin America, in startup news, Colombia, Duppla raises $60 million USD for home financing. Colombian proptech Duppla, D-U-P-P-L-A, raised $60 million USD through a mix of debt and equity. The company is building alternative pathways to homeownership in a region where traditional mortgage access is still limited for many middle-income buyers. Siigo, S-I-I-G-O, raises $103.5 million USD for SME software. Colombian enterprise software company Siigo secured $103.5 million USD to expand its accounting, payroll, electronic invoicing, and business administration tools. This is a classic Latin America infrastructure story, software that helps small businesses operate across messy financial and regulatory systems. In Argentina, Core, C-O-R, raises a $30 million for professional services AI. Argentine software company Core, C-O-R, raised $30 million USD for its AI-enabled platform serving agencies and professional services businesses. The platform helps teams manage projects, staffing, profitability, and one very painful question: which clients are actually making money? Over in Brazil, Pinbank, P-I-N-B-A-N-K, raises structured credit. Brazilian neobank Pinbank raised about $19.6 million USD through a structured credit fund. This is not a normal equity round. That is the point. Latin American fintechs are increasingly using credit facilities and receivable funds to grow lending without constantly diluting shareholders. Núclea, N-U-C-L-E-A, buys Data Rudder. Brazilian financial infrastructure company Núclea agreed to acquire Data Rudder, a startup focused on fraud prevention and financial crime monitoring. Data Rudder tracks PIX transactions in real time, making it a very practical fintech infrastructure acquisition. Inspira raises for legal tech. Brazilian legal tech startup Inspira raised a $2.8 million Series A, million USD Series A. Brazil's legal and regulatory complexity keeps creating demand for software that can automate legal operations and reduce administrative friction. In Chile and Mexico, Terraflows acquires Plus NutriCo. Terraflows, Terraflos, biotechnology company Teraflows acquired functional food company Plus Nutrico in an 8-figure deal. This is a useful break from the normal Latin America fintech narrative because it combines biotech, food science, and manufacturing, and a cross-border distribution. Still in Chile, Ecoterra, ECOTERRA, raises for impact. Chile's Ecoterra raises a $1.1 million USD at valuation of around $16 million USD. The round is small, but it fits Chile's broader strengths around climate, agriculture, water, natural resources, and impact-focused innovation. VC news. Mexico overtakes Brazil in Q2 venture funding. Mexico startups raised about $944 million USD in the second quarter of 2026, passing Brazil's roughly $350 million for the same period. The big caveat is that capital is still concentrated in fewer mature companies, so it's not a return to easy money for everyone. Argentina and Mexico, Tether invests in Duppla. We've talked about them a lot recently, so I should dive deeper into them. Tether invested $20 million in digital bank Duppla, which operates across Argentina, Mexico, and Colombia. The deal brings together two major Latin America fintech themes, digital banking and stablecoin capital. Latin America, the recovery is still uneven. Latin America's startup market is active, but it's not evenly active. The strongest funding is going towards fintech infrastructure, SMEs software, credit products, property finance, and a small number of large regional winners. In other ecosystem news, the boring infrastructure is the story. The strongest Latin America stories over the past 2 weeks are not flashy consumer apps, they're accounting software, home financing, legal tech, fraud prevention, structured credit, and financial infrastructure. Very boring industries, but incredibly necessary to build a more stable economy. In Chile, Argentina, and Brazil, South Korea looks south. South Korea's technology and trade trip includes major Latin American markets like Chile, Argentina, and Brazil. This matters because AI, batteries, semiconductors, energy, and critical minerals are increasingly connected across Asia and Latin America. Moving over to Europe, in startup news, in the UK, Cusp AI, CUSP AI, raises a $450 million USD round for AI-designed materials. Cambridge-based Cusp AI raised $450 million at a $2.6 billion USD valuation. The company uses AI to discover new materials for areas like semiconductors, energy storage, manufacturing, and carbon capture, making this one of the strongest pure startup stories of the 2-week window. In Spain, Multiverse Computing targets a 500 million euro raise. Spanish quantum AI startup Multiverse Computing is reportedly targeting a 500 million euro round at a unicorn valuation. Its technology compresses large AI models so they require less computing power, which is exactly the kind of problem that matters as AI costs keep rising. Back in the UK, we got a lot of UK this week. Enforcer raises $50 million for MSP security. UK-based Enforcer raised $50 million to scale its Microsoft security and AI management platform for managed service providers. The company helps MSPs detect shadow AI, manage Copilot usage, and protect mid-market customers that may not have big internal security teams. In the UK and Germany, Aegon builds Aegon, AGON, builds synthetic battlefields. Defense tech startup Aegon launched from stealth with $30 million in seed funding. The London and Berlin-based company builds simulated environments to train and test autonomous drones and interceptors before they reach real battlefields. In the UK, again, Qurate, Qureight, raises for AI medical imaging. Cambridge-based Qurate raised $20 million for its 3D chest foundation model. Its platform helps pharmaceutical companies analyze medical imaging for drug trials faster. cutting workflows that can take weeks down to days. Plend, Plend, raises lending capacity. London-based fintech Plend secured a financing facility worth up to 58.3 million euros. Like several Latin American fintechs, Plend is raising lending capacity rather than just venture cap equity, showing how fintech funding is becoming more tied to credit infrastructure. Entropy, Intropy, you decide, uses AI for spare parts. London-based Entropy raised 9.5 million euros to build AI operating system for spare parts inventory, pricing, purchasing decisions. This is not a glamorous problem, but in manufacturing, transport, and heavy industry, spare parts directly affect downtime and working capital. Over in Spain, Atomic One automates e-commerce operations. Malaga-based Atomic One raised 5.6 million euros for its AI operating system for e-commerce businesses. This is another applied AI story. Less about making marketing slogans, more about automating the actual work of running the store. On to VC news in Europe. In Germany, the government becomes a defense tech VC. Germany announced plans for a state-backed vehicle that can take direct equity stakes in defense startups. This is a major shift. Governments are moving from customer and regulator to actual shareholder. In Europe as a whole, the scale-up capital fight gets political. France raised concerns about UK's proposed participation in Europe's €5 billion Scale-up Europe Fund. The disagreement shows Europe's core tension. Everyone agrees startups need bigger growth checks, but governments still want their own capital to benefit their own companies. Deep tech funding is booming, but narrow. European deep tech funding reportedly hit a record in the first half of 2026, and late-stage Series D funding jumped sharply. The catch is that much of the money is flowing into a small club of AI, defense, and deep tech scale-ups. In other ecosystem news in Europe, the EU wants AI gigafactories. The European Union opened plans for up to 7 AI gigafactories, supported by roughly 10 billion euros in public funding and a global goal of attracting about 20 billion euros more from private investors. Each facility is expected to include at least 100,000 advanced AI chips, giving European startups and researchers more access to compute. Compute is the new sovereignty problem. Europe's biggest AI weakness is not talent or research, it's access to computing power. The AI Gigafactory plan is an attempt to reduce dependence on American cloud platforms and give European companies somewhere local to train and run advanced models. In the UK and Germany, Europe's funding week passes 1 billion euros. European tech companies raised more than 1 billion euros across more than 50 deals in one recent week, with the UK and Germany leading the total. Clean tech, fintech, robotics, biotech, and infrastructure-heavy startups drove the activity. Across Europe, the most important stories were not generic SaaS rounds. They were AI materials, model compression, defense simulation, and medical imaging, lending, infrastructure, spare parts intelligence, and AI compute facilities. So that's it for this 2-week update. Asia's building around AI chips, payments, energy, robotics, data, and national venture funds. Latin America is showing strength in practical financial business infrastructure, and Europe is racing to build the compute, defense, and deep tech backbone needed to compete in AI. The broader takeaway is clear. Startup ecosystems are becoming infrastructure ecosystems. The biggest money is going towards companies and policies that control chips, energy, data, credit, defense systems, and the physical economy underneath technology. I'm Grant Watkins, and this is the Startup Vagabond. I'll see you next week for another quick tour of global startup news. Thank you very much, and until we meet again, Jane.